Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and in this one we are going to solve some of the questions from IBM coding round, and I'm also going to give you the answers in all the programming language like Python, C++ and Java. So we are going to take some of the intermediate level questions which you can expect in the IBM. And as you know, if you're already aware that there are more than 30 plus companies are hiring this placement season. So if you want to get all the recent updates about these placements and the preparation material, make sure you subscribe to on all our channels on Instagram, WhatsApp, Discord, LinkedIn and Telegram. And also we have covered a complete Accenture preparation. If you're preparing for the Accenture, you can check the complete playlist from syllabus page to the coding questions, everything in throughout the interview that you're going to ask. So you can get that on our YouTube channel. So make sure if you're new on this channel, so subscribe to this video and all right, and you can just follow us on YouTube as well. All right. So now, as you always know, so we are going to pick top 3 commenters from this video as well. So there are going to be some questions that I'm going to ask you in this video, and if you answer them correctly, so you may get a chance to win the Prime subscription totally free. All right. So now, without further ado, let's get to the first question of the day that we have. So here, let's break it down the question. Let's try to understand, and then we'll go to the code part. All right. So here we have Aman, who is working at a software company and forgot the password of his LinkedIn account. Okay, so even though he forgot his password, he knows the ASCII values. ASCII values, I think you understand the ASCII values. So these are the representation of the numbers of the English characters. So we'll know more about this in detail. So of his password in a reverse order. So he forgot the password, but he remembers the ASCII values of his password in the reverse order. And you have to help Aman to find the password. All right, and there are also some of the steps that you have to follow. So to decode the password, first reverse the string of digits. ASCIIs are going to be in a digit, and since he remembers this in a reverse order, first you have to reverse that so that you will get the correct order of this ASCII numbers, and then successively pick valid value from the string and convert them into their ASCII equivalents. For example, let's say there is a 65 which represents a character in alphabet, and there is like, let's say 100 also represents some character, or like there's a range that we have for alphabetic characters like capital A to Z, all right, and small a to z, and even the special characters like at the rate, space, these are also have some specific numbers. That's how computer understand these characters, and later on this ASCII values get converted into binary in a computer understandable language, right? So now some of the values will have 2 digits, like I said, so it can be a 2 digit, and the others are 3. Use the ranges of valid values when decoding the string of the digit. Okay, so since we have multiple options here, so the number can be of 2 digit as well, 3 digit as well. So you need to understand, or you need to pick that exact number which has a relevant meaning in terms of that ASCII value. So even if you check the order, or if you pick some number which is a 2 digit number, which can be a 2 digit number, but there cannot be a significant character for that number. So that you have to be careful about. So let's further read this question. Let's see what we have. Alright, so like I said, we have given a range of the numbers for ASCII values for the characters. For example, let's say A to Z, capital A to Z is represented by 65 to the 90. So that means 65 represents capital A, and so on. And small a is represented by 97. Alright, and there are numbers, right? So we have the 65 to 90, basically it is representing A to Z, and then we have 97 to 122, which representing small a to z, right? And there are some characters between 90 to 97 which can have some multiple values, like it can be numbers or it can be some special character, something like that. And we have the value for space, which is like let's say if in a string you can have a space. So space is like, I'll show you that this is not considered as underscore. Let's say if I write a word, and let's say there's a space here, and then you continue writing that word. So basically that space is represented by 32. So we have the ASCII value for the space is 32, and we have a note here saying that the password only has alphabets and blank characters. So Password does not consist any of the special character. It does not even consist of numbers. So it only has the alphabets, which could be capital letters, small cases, and as well as along with the space. That's it. All right. So now what exactly we have to do? So given a string, decode the password by following the steps mentioned above. So we have seen the steps that first we have to reverse the string, then you need to identify whether it's going to be a 2-digit ASCII value or 3-digit ASCII value. Then with respect to that, let's say if we find the number at 65, that means it is going to be A, something like that. For each value, we have to convert that into the English character, and that English character will prepare a word. It can be followed by the characters or even followed by space. So that will become a password. Alright, and we have a constraint that the string length is going to be between this range and s of I, which is like, since strings are subscriptable, so even if you pass some string, you can access them as an index wise, is an ASCII character, and the range we have is basically capital A and Z and combination of small letters and capital letters and or a space character. So this is what we are going to have. So let's look at the one of the example first, and then we will talk about the code part. Alright, so here we have a sample input, which is nothing but the input that we have, and as you know, this is going to be in a reverse order because Aman remembers his password in a ASCII value that is also in a reverse order. So first thing that you have to do is you have to convert that into a in a reverse, so that we will get the numbers. So I will do it for you. So basically we will get 8 0, then we have 1 1 4, then 1, then we have 0 1 1. All right, then we have 2 7 3, then we have 1 1 0, and then we have 1 1 5. Okay, this is going to take time. And 1 1, we have 6 9 7. So basically this is the complete string. I know that it has went in different way. So basically this is a complete string. Now from this, so these are the numbers which represent an ASCII value, and this we have, remember, this in a string format we have. These are not a digit, we have a string. So from this, it states that the output of these numbers is going to be prepend star. So as you know, we have to understand that it's going to be a combination of ASCII values, whether of a 2-digit or 3-digit, and we have a range, and with respect to that range, so we can identify the first two characters, which is a 80, which represents the value at P. Then we have 114. Okay, so I know because that's why I'm directly able to tell you, but in terms of that, you need to remember the chart, or you can just write all the characters so that you can identify. And 114, because 11 cannot be, because we have the characters range in this manner, right? 65 to we have 90, and 97 to 122. So either it's going to be that or 32 for space, right? So this is not there. So we have this for capital A to Z, this we have small a to Z. So these are in this range only, these are characters are going to be the ASCII values. So basically with 114 makes sense in here, and then we have we cannot have 10 as a ASCII value, right? Since there's no range that we have for the 10, so it is going to be 101. Then we have this 112, then we have 73, because 731 cannot be a ASCII value. We do not have that in a range, so we assume that whatever the string that is presented, that follows the correct format for the given range that we have. So in order to this, you have to identify how many characters are going to be for the 2 length and 3 length, and we have to convert that ASCII value in an equivalent English character, and at the end you have to give the following output, so which we get it as a prepend star. Alright, so this is what we have to do. Now let's jump into the code part and let's try to write a logic for this one. Alright, so now here we are on a VS Code, and basically this is the solution for ASCII password that we have been solving for Aman to identify his password. So first of all, what I'll do is I'll execute this code, I'll show you the answer, and don't worry, I'm going to explain this complete code line by line. I'll break it down for you, because since to explain this code, I'll need that string that we're going to put in a reverse order, right? So once I get that string, then I'll break it down, and then I'll tell you how we are exactly solving and what will be the answer. So I have taken the same example here. So this is the sample string, that's why I've commented. And now let's run this code. So let's go to the terminal, let's execute, and here it will ask for the input that we have to give in terms of the reverse ASCII string. And once I give that, so we will print. So this is, this is not necessary, but I'm printing in terms of explaining you how we can get that and how we can break it down. And now this is the actual string that we have, and this is the entire actual password of this conversion of this ASCII value into the English string. Alright, so now that we got this value, so basically this is the string that we have given as the input. Now we have a reverse string. So I will make a copy here and in the comment, and so that I can explain you this part. Alright, so now that we have, alright, so now let's break down each line of the code, what exactly we are doing. And I'm going to show you the code for C++ and Java as well, so that you can understand if you're comfortable with those languages. First of all, what we are doing here on this first line, we are taking the input from the user, and since this is a Python, the default input is going to be in a string, and we are just taking that in this format. And now in the second part, so what exactly this we are doing? Since string is subscriptable, so you can iterate on each value of the string. So this will take start value. So basically this colon in this format we have s of, then this we have, right, and -1. So basically here we have to mention the start, and here we have to mention the end of the string. So how much part that you want to give, and this is nothing but a step parameter. So since we have not mentioned any of the start and end of the string to read a specific range of the value, so it will start reading from this to this, and since the step parameter is -1, so it will read from this order. So in a way it will reverse the string. So this is the simple way that you can do using this. Otherwise, if you want to do, you can use a loop, and you can start iterating from the end, and you can append concatenate the string to form this kind of a value as well. So it's up to you which method you want to use it. Alright, so now that you understood how we got the reverse string, so now let's try to break down this code from line number 4. So this is nothing but we are just printing that string. So here we have given the iteration number. So since we are going to use the while loop, so the conditional value that we have initial value as 0, result is initially an empty string. So since we do not have, just the double quotes, and here we are going to use the while loop. In that, we are going to pass the value of while loop. It will start iterating from the value of 0, since this I value is initially 0, and we are going to calculate the length of this complete string. So whatever the length that we have, so this length method, length of this s will return the length and -1. So since we will not go to this part, I'll explain you why we are not considering this -1 as usual. Alright, so now after that, what exactly we are doing in this method? So this says s of I plus s of I plus 1. So if we start reading, this is nothing but our s. If I start reading this, so if I write s of I, the first value is going to be 8. And since we know this ASCII value is going to be a combination of either 2-digit or 3-digit, so s of I is nothing but just a single digit, and this we will treat it as x. So now we have x as 8, and after that we are performing the concatenation here. So next value that we have is s of I plus 1. So I is initially, this is the index 0 value, this is the index 1. So 0 plus 1 we have 1. So this will be so now we have this entire string. So basically this s of I will be 8 plus not is, you are not doing the addition here because this is the string value. It will perform the concatenation. So the entire string value of x will get as 8080. So this is the valid ASCII value. We have a 2-digit value. So now let's move to this next line, where we are going to check if the value is directly 32. So basically we will compare 80 equal to the, I'm forgetting here to mention the strings. Basically it is in quotations, we are talking about the strings. If it is 32, no, it will be false. So let's not jump into this. So it will come to the else part. So since if it is 32 that we have 32, we represent by the space, right? So it will have directly appended space in the result. Since it is not 32, we'll skip this part for now, and we will move to the next iteration, next statement. So which we have elif int of x. So basically it is converting that x value in integer if that is in a given range of 65 to 91. So this is also false. So it will not. So alright. So I'm sorry. So here we have this 80 value which is in a range of 65 to 91, which is correct. And since as you know the value that we have is 65 to the 90 for the range of a to z, but why we have given 91 here? Because in a range function the second parameter that we put is a non-exclusive, so that's why it will only read non-inclusive, so that's why it will read only till the character 90 itself. So do not worry about the extra character that we have put here. So basically the end parameter is -1. We always state that. If you know, if you are already familiar with the Python, then it will be easier for you to understand that. Alright, so since this value, this is justifies this, it is true for this 65 to 91, then it will convert this 80 as a string into the integer format, and this integer format we are going to later pass on the method called chr. So what is this method? So if you pass any numerical value in this chr method, it will convert to the equivalent English character. So basically it takes the input of the ASCII value and it will convert that into English character. So nothing but here it will convert this 80 in a P, and that will append in a result. So initially we have result as empty, then we have the P value here, and our result will become P. So then it will, since this got executed, it will directly jump into this part. And now, so once in the first iteration we read two characters, right? And our current I value is 0. But since we have already read the index position of I as well, so the next index it has to pick the index position of 2. So initially the current value that we have is a 0. So that's why we are doing I plus 2, which will lead to the 2 index. So in the second iteration, now I'll clean up the screen and we'll start again. So now that we have incremented this value with the 2, your index value became 2 here. So it will again start, since the value of 2 is less than equal to length of s, and then it will iterate over. Here we have s of I, which is nothing but what we have here is 1. So this is the index value, and plus we have to do s of I plus 1, which is nothing but 1. So here x will become 11. So now here we need to talk about the character. Since when the x value is not 32, then this will not work. Even this x value is not in range of 65 to 91 and 97 to 100 as of now. So this will not also work. Alright. So in that scenario, so since we have this, so it will execute this part. And in that part, I plus 2, so I value what we have is initially here we have the 2, and 2 plus 2 is less than equal to length. So it is going to add 2 more characters, because here it assumes that this part will work whenever we have the ASCII character of the 3 length. Alright, and now it will calculate this x. So now that the value of x is 11 as this moment, so it's going to pick I plus 2. Here we have I, and this will pick, let's write the index 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So initially the value of I is 0. We are going to add 2 into that. That will become 4. So x is initially 11, and concatenating by the index value that we have is like at the index 4, we have the index value 4. So that will become 114. So your x will become 114, and for this value you're going to convert this character. So basically you're going to first convert that into an int, then you will convert chr into 114, and this will return you the next value, which will represent to r, small r, and initially we have p in our result, and this will append r here. So this way, for each of all the values, so you are going to break down this. So let me clean the screen again. So first here we have this 2, then 3, here it's going to be 3, then this, it will be 2, then 3, then it will again be 3 characters, then it will again be 3 characters, and then it will be 2 characters. So this is how you're going to break down this complete string, and it will work like this. Alright, so I hope it was some kind of a complicated, so you can go back, you can pause the video, you can try the code on yourself, try run it, so you can understand. So I'll help you with respect to executing this code. So let's run this. Here we have, and let's enter the string. So this is the string that we get when we do the reverse, and this is the output. Alright, so that's the solution for the Python, and if you want to look at the solution for rest of the code, so here I have a code, so basically I'll just hide this, and here we have the solution in C++, so you can look at this screen, so I'll freeze it for some time, you can understand, or maybe once you have understood the logic, it will be easier for you to solve these questions. So this is what we have in terms of the C++, and now let's look at the code for the Java. So this is the Java code. So since I do not have installed the compiler in terms of C++ Java, I am not able to execute this code, but this is easy. You can just take this code, you can execute on your own compilers, so you will get this output. Alright, so since there might be a lot of you who are watching this video and you have not started preparation yet, and there are some of the students who are from non-technical background as well. So if you want to get preparation materials of all the IBM, then I'll recommend you to visit our page on IBM syllabus page, which is updated page. On that you will get all the information regarding what are the different sections are going to be in the IBM exam, and how it is going to be divided, and also you will get some of the practice questions as well. So if you look at and if you scroll down on here, so you will get all the resources with respect to updated help with respect to the IBM hiring. And let's say if you're someone from you are completely beginner or from a non-technical background, if you get overwhelmed by solving this kind of question, I recommend you to visit our prepinstaprime.com, where you will see completely company specific channels. Like if you're preparing for the IBM, you can check the IBM course. In that you will get from the round 1 to the total round all the information. And not just that, since you're going to sit for multiple interviews, so you'll need to learn the skills like programming skills, like any one programming language, either C++, Java and Python. And to solve the intermediate and expert level questions in the coding round, you need to complete basic coding, intermediate coding and competitive coding as well. And in some of the interviews you can expect the questions on the data structures as well. So these all resources are available under one subscription, where you can get not just the courses, along with that you will get interview preparation, that to company specific tracks. And if you want to look, and there are going to be some offers, and if you're checking for these resources, I'll drop coupon code in the description. So go check out this subscription, where you will get not just the interview preparation, but along with that you can learn some of the popular skills as well. So I hope now that you have understood, so you'll definitely want to go check out that. So I'll drop that link for the Prime along with the coupon code. So get it now. Alright, so now let's talk about question 2, and here we have the question. And okay, so let's read it out and let's try to break down the question, and then we'll go to the solution. So there is a group of people which also includes 2 monsters. Okay, so in this group and they split these groups among the people to kill them. So basically there's a group of people along with the monsters, and these monsters splits the group to kill the people. Alright, so when monsters come into the group of people, then at that time people leave their group. So basically as people start to realizing there's a monster, so they start leaving their groups. So after that the breaking of the group will continue due to the monster's entry, and at the last the group with the minimum length will be killed by the monsters. Okay, so we have a bunch of people along with the monsters, and as people realize that there are monsters in themselves, so along with the other people, so people start to leaving their group, and that will result into that. So there will be only left a group of people left with the minimum number of the people into that. Alright, so there are basically what exactly we have to do. So let's figure out. So for that there are we have 2 types of monsters are present, so which are represented in terms of ampersand and the dollar, and people are represented with a string p. So now you have to find the minimum length of the group which will be killed by the monsters. So in the question we do not have exactly know that how many people will be there and what is the number of the group that we have. and basically and count of people in each group. So basically we'll be given a string, and based on that we have to split that in terms of wherever the monster is present, and then we need to identify which is the smallest length of that group which is going to be eventually get killed by these monsters. All right, so now let's look at the some of the examples for here. So what is the input format that we have? So thus the first line with the input string of the input, so basically the first line is going to be the string of the complete input, and the second, then we have output format is going to be whatever we need to find the minimum length of that. So what is the constraint? So the length of like input is going to be in the range of 2 to less than 10 raised to power 9. And for example, let's say this is your input string. So this is the input that you have fed, and the output is 2. So why specifically the output is 2? Let's try to break it down. So as we know, the monsters are represented by this, and as we have this, so as the monster is present, so people are going to break out from the loop, from that group. So then it will eventually create the group of the people, right? So people are going to leave that. So what we're going to do is, since we have, so let's try to split this complete string wherever these kind of characters are present, these 3 characters. All right, so let's since we have this 2 characters equivalent, so let's split with respect to dollar. So there is no proper order, so you can actually split on this ampersand first and dollar later, but let's split on that. So what happens if I split this string on the dollar? So I'll get the new string. This is going to be my first string, and this is going to be my second string. Let's say if I create a list, so on that list, this is going to be the first element, and this is going to be a second element. So my list will become, let's say this L will become of the 2 elements. So since this is going to take time to write that, so I'm not going to mention. So that's why I'm just saying, let's say I mark it as 1 and I mark it as 2. So no, this is not a good idea. So instead of that, you understand that whenever we do this split, so we are going to get this one as a 1 string, and this is the another string in a list of the string, since we are going to split this. All right, so this is the first part of the split, and we have 2 groups now, and still there are some monsters left. We have to split that as well. So all right, so let's change the color. Now this is the second group that we have. In that I have to resplit again, right? So from that I can see if I have to split it on this @ symbol now. So once we do not have any character left for the dollar, so any monster represented by the dollar, so we have to split it on the ampersand and @. So this is going to be my 1 group. So now here I can count 1 2 3 4 5 6. So we have 6 members here. If I split on this, then this is going to be the second, so I'm just leaving. So here we are going to 3, and here we have, what we have here is a 2. All right, and eventually the first one that we did, so this is going to be a second list. So this value is going to be a second list if I count the length of these groups as well. So first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to split that on @, then I'm going to calculate the length of the people in the group. So this will give me a numerical numbers like 6 3 and 2, and the first one we had this one, right? So this group which had 2, so our total list will become 6 3 2 and 2. And what we are asked, what is the minimum length of the group which is going to get killed? Since we have the 2 values, so there's nothing about which group. So we just have to give the number of people in the group which are going to get killed, right? So the minimum length of the group. So out of this list, you have to find the minimum value. So if you use the functions or if you run through it using the loops, that's up to you. So we have the number as 2. The minimum length out of this, we have 2, right? So it can be this or that. So that's what the output is showing here as a 2. So if you change the string to something else, and if you give that input, you will get the different output as well. So basically what we have to do is in this, so before looking at the solution, I want you to solve this. Pause the video and follow this. So take this string as an input, then split that string on the dollar first, or maybe you can use the ampersand, there's nothing difference. Then this will create you the 2 groups like I mentioned. So first one is up to this part. So this will be your first group and this will be your second group. So this you can put that in a list. Then take this group, since there are multiple ampersand at the rates are still present, so monsters are present, then we have to split this thing. So take this part, split it, count the length of each group members, so completely, and add that in a list or array in other programming language. Then merge the arrays of the first split if there is any individual value like this, and then you will get the final list or array like this, and from that you have to find the minimum value. That's it. It might seem difficult in terms of when you try to understand the question and look at the string, but once you break it down into smaller cases, then it will become really easy. Alright, so that's it for the explanation part. Let's jump into the code part. Alright, so now let's discuss how we can solve this monsters problem. So basically here I have Python code, and in that let's start with first thing that we are going to get here is a function that I've defined in terms of to calculate the length of minimum group who are going to be get killed. So the execution starts from here, so it's function, and we are going to feed the input. Alright, so in that function we have defined this is going to be input string. So what is this input string we are defining here, right? So we are going to take the input from the user. So this will take the user. So for the handy, just to show, I have commented that the input that we are going to feed into this. Once we get this input, so this we are going to feed into the function. First thing that we are going to do is we are going to create a list of this called as groups, and in that this input string, which is nothing but this complete this string, we are going to split on dollar. So like I shown you in the example, once I split in dollar, it's going to create a list of elements with first we are going to not the hashtag, so ignore the hashtag, that is the part of the comment in Python. So from this p to this part and this, so these are the two elements that you're going to see. And basically if you want to check that, you can print groups here while you are iterating the same code, and we have set the minimum length to initially as an infinite number. Alright, so since we need to compare these values, right? So once you have these two groups now, so we are clear with all the ampersand dollar signs that we have. So now we are going to iterate a for loop. Since remaining in this first group, we have two symbols. So we have to iterate that, and we have to split it, and we have to calculate the length as well. So we are going to run a for loop here. And for the for loop, for group in the groups, this groups is nothing but the list from this. And in that we are going to create a subgroup of, so this group that we have, we are going to, like for each iteration, for the first iteration, we are going to group dot split at the rate, and this will create a subgroup. So here also you will get one more list of this, and this. Alright, so once you get these values as a subgroups, and then we are going to calculate the length of these numbers. So like I shown you in the explanation part, right? So we have these characters of the group of the people, we are going to calculate their length, and here we are using a list comprehension to write make the code very compact. So how it is going to work is like we are going to iterate on a for loop. So for subgroup and subgroups, so basically this is we will iterate on this loop, and for each loop, for each iteration, for each value, for example, we have this 6 times p, 3 times p, and 2 times p. Here we have this p. So I'm not going to write here, as you understood, this is going to be a first element, this is going to be a second element, this is going to be a third element. We are going to pick each element of this list, and we are going to calculate the length for that. So this is how list comprehension works. So it's going to iterate on this list, and it's going to pick that, and that will eventually give you the list of numbers at 6, 3, and 2. So if you print the list of this length, you will get that. So once you find that, then we have to calculate all the lengths, right? So once you create all this with respect to all the values, then we have to create that, we have to find the minimum number from this. So we are going to use the main function from the Python, and there we are going to pass the minimum length, which is we are going to compare with this, and minimum of the length of this list. And from that you will get one number which is minimum, and it will return this min length of this function once you call this function. Alright, so here we are going to get the result. So we are calling this function, and with respect to function we are going to feed this input, and this will call the function this, and you will get the result here. Alright, so now let's execute this part. So I'll just keep that in a clipboard so that we can feed the input. Alright, so we have to give the input, this is the input, we have this result. So you can try this same thing with the different input as well. So like I said, you have a chance to win Prep Ninja Prime subscription for the free. So as I've explained you in the part of Python code, I want you to write the code either in a C++ or Java and submit it to me. I know I have the code here. So, but since if you want to show, like I'll show you it. So I want you to write this code on your own and explain the logic as well, what exactly it has happened. And maybe the best commenter on this video will get the subscription for the free. And on the closing note, I just want to tell you that, like I've also mentioned about this commenters. And if you want to know, if you want more videos like this about regarding like which company is currently hiring in your college, you can let us know and we'll come up with the video so that it will help you in terms of cracking these interviews. And on just a closing note, there are not just these, so there are more than 30 plus companies are going to hire this placement season. I do not want you to miss out all the updates regarding that. So go check our all channels like on Instagram, WhatsApp, Discord, LinkedIn and Telegram, and subscribe to and follow all these channels. And if you're new to this video, if this was helpful, like that button and hit the button on that like so that we'll know this are helpful for you and we can create more videos like this. Alright, that's it for the video and I'll see you in the next one.